What are good side jobs for writers? When you really want to write and can't imagine yourself doing anything else, not having the time or energy to do so can give you an ongoing headache. In this video, I'm going to take a quick look at what are good side jobs for writers and consider some useful criteria for deciding what you might do to financially support your writing career. Towards the end of the video, I give you a helpful practice activity to oil your identity as a writer so you trundle on with minimum C's up. You'll be in very good company if you do have a side job. Agatha Christie worked as a nurse and pharmacy assistant, where she learned lots about poison. Maya Angelou had a range of jobs, including singer and dancer. And Philip Larkin, English poet, was a librarian in Hull University for much of his life. Let's start now with the type of writing you want to do. If you want to write commercial fiction or script writing or journalism or non-fiction, you may want to create a clear goal of when you aim to be earning most of your living from your craft. But if you're a poet or literary fiction writer, then you'll be doing it for the long term and possibly always need side income. Even poet laureates often teach too. Now, a crunch decision. Do you seek out a job allied to writing where you will be able to develop those writing muscles, or one seemingly unrelated, but which could end up inspiring you? Philip Larkin would have been surrounded by poetic inspiration in a big university library, while novelist Sally Vickers, for instance, cites her work as a psychotherapist having a hugely inspiring influence on her books. Two aspects matter most here, I reckon. One, that the absolute core material of what you work with, whatever you write, are words. They are your bricks as builder, your ingredients as cook, your earth as grower. Some jobs will give you a good chance to use those word muscles and give them a good workout, like teaching, public relations, book selling, librarianship. And others may have less obvious potential, like being a truck driver, which is in demand and well paid currently, or barista. Though this did not damage Margaret Atwood's potential as a writer when she took that role. So, the next thing to consider may be time, or more importantly, your energy. When we have the energy to do something, we almost always find the time. If whatever you do totally exhausts you, then you may get to feel very frustrated about your lack of chance to write. Which is why I reckon a lot of the writers I know who teach do so online, teaching English as a foreign language, for instance, or as part-time adult education tutors, leaving sufficient time and energy aside for their writing projects. This may be more challenging for them, for instance, if they worked full-time as a teacher, including, as the role now does, lots of administration. But you may also be quite an extrovert writer, one who finds long periods of solitude tiring and who would enjoy the stimulation of 3 shifts a week as barista in your local coffee shop, and even a source of character inspiration for your work in progress. What you're looking for is side work that feeds rather than exhausts your verbal creativity, that allows you scope to nurture and protect your valuable inner life. If you choose to go for the words are my muscles approach, then here are some complementary areas for side jobs. You'll see branded content is down there, and that is quite a lucrative market for writers. So you're writing for businesses, and the type of writing you might do may include things like product description or brochure copy. So you'd need to find out from particular firms who hires their freelance writers, and indeed if they do. You can get a better feel for these markets by looking on job boards like Indeed, or Freelance Writing, Contenta. In the complete freelance writing course, we examine all the different items writers get paid to write. There are some areas like finance and tech currently where demand and return can be high. What's also worth considering, of course, for your valuable inner creativity is your balance between online and real life. Let's say Jess wants to write a fantasy trilogy, but reckons she could write web content on personal finance to support this. However good a writer Jess is, when she applies for online content writing gigs, she's competing with the whole world. And writers who may be able to compete ferociously with her on rates because they live somewhere where the cost of living is relatively cheap, and Jess does not. When Jess talks to a local financial services company about helping them out, she finds collaboration and coming up with ideas a lot more enjoyable. She may have to quickly upskill on taking photos, but as trust grows between her and the client, she gets charged with making ebooks, white papers, and creating conference speeches and slides. She also enjoys getting out of her writing den now and then. You'll get then that I'm suggesting here your side job can help you grow and develop too. On Warwick University's prestigious creative writing degree, they used to introduce students to the course by describing 3 types of writing. 1, combining writing with teaching. 2, dreaming about writing while working at something mundane. And 3, being a Swiss Army knife type of writer who makes themselves as useful as possible and more employable. These Swiss Army knife type writers usually are quite tech savvy and able to write for different formats and platforms. But what if side job, family demands, health matters maybe all conspire to overwhelm you and you truly feel that your identity as a writer and capacity to move those words is stymied? Well, it's well-known writing advice, which I'm sure you've heard, to try and write something every day, but sometimes you just have to stop and recharge. Before we finish, here's a little prescription I use to get back on track. Each day, usually between leaving my desk and heading off to prepare supper, I write 3 things. Just 1 sentence, and that's thanks to Richard and Judy Prize winner Julie Marr for this idea, a sentence about absolutely anything you like. I write a haiku, 3-line little poem, based on what's the season, the setting, what time of day, with a precise image and action. And usually haikus go 5 beats, 7 beats, 5 beats. So here's a haiku for you here. We meet on YouTube. You could be here anytime. Energy for words. And finally, I write an interesting word I've either discovered or looked up. As I'm relearning Welsh, my native tongue, this may well be a Welsh word, and today's would be hwyl, which means in the spirit. So hwyl to you. This little exercise is immensely satisfying and best done without much censure. Don't criticise yourself, in other words, just let it out. So if you've had a bad day, your sentence can act as therapy journaling. To sum up then, you may find it helpful to think about how words are your tools and how you'll manage your energy when you look at possibilities for side jobs to support that wondrous writing soul of yours. Happy side job hunting to you.